5 minutes.
Welcome in. We're back with another edition of Snob versus Douche. He's the snob and I'm the douche. Today we're going to do our year-end or year-end review type video. This is where we're going to unveil our top 20 albums of 2024 to each other. By the time you see this, I will have released a video on my channel, which has my top 75 albums in a kind of video list form. But right now, as we're sitting here, the snob has no idea what my top 20 is. Nope. This is you're the first person that's going to become aware of this hotly anticipated top 20 list.
There's been a lot of buzz on the internet about it.
A lot of pent up demand that like I get like 4 or 5 phone calls a day. When is it coming out?
I've been doing this for making a top 20 new records, best records of the year for 25 years.
That's crazy.
I have them back to 1999. And that's how much of a huge music nerd I am.
Yeah, when I worked at the radio station, we did the top whatever. That's 88. I used to make lists of 88 albums.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes.
No, that's where the 75 comes from then. Okay.
No, I mean it's just whatever. It's just it's just, silly. But it's something.
It's a hobby.
Yeah. Anyway, so do you want to I think we're just going to dive into our top 20s. We'll go back, we'll trade off. And then at the end, we'll kind of do a debrief on the year, maybe just our lists in general or other commentary we'll stick at the end. What's your number 20 album of 2024?
2024, number 20 for me is Kelly Stoltz. His new album called La Fleur, out on Agitated Records. It is it's the 18th full-length release. That should give you an idea of how long he's been around. 18th full-length. He's a sort of a San Francisco psych pop sort of mainstay there. This one, I never really had any experience with him. Listened to this one, really loved it. A lot of great songs. Jason Faulkner from the Jellyfish and Greys even makes a couple of appearances on this one. Really good stuff. Did you sample this one at all?
This is one I saw it was out. It was on my list. I never got around to listening to it. So regrettably, looks like I need to go back to it.
Yeah, good stuff.
You would say. If it's number 20, you're encouraging
20, me. Yeah, definitely. Check it out.
Okay.
What's your 20?
Yeah, so my number 20 is the Melbourne, Australia group called Parsnip, and their second LP, which is called Behold, on Anti-Fade Records. Kind of a lo-fi, pop psych, catchy indie pop. It's a little bit twee. It's an all-female group. It may be faded a little for me late in the year, but I still enjoyed it enough that on the day that I made my list, I put it at number 20. Did you listen to this one? I think you enjoyed
I did.
It at least a little.
Yeah, I did. I liked it. Yeah, it didn't make near the top 20, but it was good. Yeah, good stuff. For me, next up, we got number 19. This is Jillian Welch and David Rawlings, their album Woodland, out on Akeney Records. This is the 7th full-length release from this Nashville, Tennessee-based folk duo, folk bluegrass country a little bit. Scratched an itch that needed scratching. We talked about it earlier in the year. I think it was maybe our last video was one of my 2x2 picks.
Yeah, so we went into great depths
Yeah, you hated
that
it.
album.
You're
I
pissed that
didn't
I
hate
picked
it.
it.
I didn't hate it, but
No,
yeah.
yeah,
Definitely did not like it as much as you
yeah.
enjoyed it. Before I move on to my number 19, how many do you think we will have the same? Remember last year we only had one, and it was our number one, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
Do you think we will have any albums? Do you think we'll have any overlap on our
I
lists
I think there will be more overlap this year.
more this year?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
can tell you why. Well, you'll yeah.
Okay.
It based yeah. I want I don't want to
I
ruin
think
any surprises here.
okay. Yeah. I think
But yeah,
if I had to guess, I would say just a few, but we'll see what happens.
at least
My number
5.
19, at least 5. Okay.
Yeah,
My number 19 is the Philadelphia power pop band called Second Grade. The album is called Scheduled Explosions on Double Double Whammy. This is a 23 track, 39-minute kind of trip, lo-fi melodic 1970s style, nostalgic power pop. But I think that the way that it's produced, the lo-finess of it feels current. I was a fan of them before. This kind of cements them for me. I'm surprised that this has gotten a fair amount of love. I've seen it on year-end lists. This is probably the only album on my list that is on
yeah.
that is on any mainstream year-end best of list. I think I could be wrong, but yeah. What did you think of this one?
I think I passed on it. I do remember listening to it, but for whatever reason, it just did not resonate, and I just was focused on other things.
Too lo-fi, maybe.
It was one of those things on the edge. Yep.
Yeah, it worked for me. I can see it not working for a lot of people. That's why it actually somewhat surprises me that I've seen it on several like year-end best of lists.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, what's your number 18?
We got Hooray for the Riff Raff. The album is called The Past is Still Alive, out on None Such Records. The Hooray for the Riff Raff is basically a folk rock project led by Alinda Sagara. This is her 8th full-length record under that name. She popped up on my on my radar, and a lot of people's radars with her release from last year, which was Life on Earth, that I think possibly was on my top 20 as well. Yeah, good stuff. Good songwriting. Did you listen to this one at all?
I only dipped my toes in.
Yep.
So yeah, did not make my my list. My number 18 is the DC area kind of power pops group, or pop punk, if you want to say, group called Bad Moves. Their 3rd LP is called Wearing Out the Refrain on Don Giovanni Records. It's kind of fun, catchy, sing-along songs. They do, if you pay attention, they like the lyrics, they do have something to say, which I think some people will see as a positive and some people will see as a negative. But I like it. I don't know many people that are fans, but I like this. I like the last album quite a bit as well. So yeah, Bad Moves, my number 18. Did you listen to this one?
I did. Yeah, it's I think it probably would have been, if I were to do a top 50, it definitely would have been in there. I did like it quite a bit. Yeah, good stuff.
17 for you.
The group is called Everything Now. Album is Hideout Mountain, and it is out on Holy Infinity Records and US Beef Products. They are sort of a down-to-earth Midwestern indie rock group out of Indianapolis, of all places. It is their fourth full length, but their first in many years. They've been around for a long time. Definitely recommended if you like. I don't know. I heard some Tom Petty there, some Jayhawks, that sort of thing. Yeah, good stuff. Did you check this one out at all?
I've never heard of that. I don't believe.
I had never heard
I
of the
didn't listen to
band
it.
ever, and I spent some time in Indianapolis. I was not aware of them, but
Okay.
yeah, good stuff.
Okay, my number 17 is the Alvilda album, which I can't say the name of. C'est déjà l'heure, which I'm sure is totally butchered. On Static Shock Records, his debut LP. It's all female group band, power pop from Paris, and all in French. In our last video, we briefly talked about this, but yeah, strong, hooky power pop. You could compare. You can compare to a lot of the like 70s. I think it's like the Runaways or like that. Like it's not really like that, but a little bit. It's just a fun, infectious record.
Even I liked it, and it's no English whatsoever. It's all in French. It's super poppy and catchy. Good stuff.
Yeah, definitely not being in English will limit. I would say limit the appeal, but I really liked it.
Next up, my number 16 is Chime School, the boy who ran the Paisley Hotel out on Slumberland Records. It's the second full-length record from this Bay Area-based indie pop group led by Andy Pastelniak. A lot of Birds and 80s underground rock influences. Just a really great record. I don't even think there's a mediocre song in the bunch. Really strong release. I know you like this one too, right?
Yes, I'm a fan of both the Chime School records.
Great.
That was your number 16. My number 16 is album by the Toronto jangle pop band Ducks Limited. The album Harm's Way on Car Park Records. I got higher and higher on this as the year went on. I think I was not super hot on it right. I mean, I liked it. I like this band. It's just kind of in my wheelhouse, or one of my wheelhouses. Just high level craftsmanship, jangle pop.
Yep.
And you like this one, I believe.
I did, yeah. We covered it, I think, in our first 2x2 2024, maybe. Came up pretty early.
Back in the spring,
Yep. Next up for me is my number 15. It is the Proctors, Snowdrops and Hot Air Balloons out on Sunday Records. Third full-length record from this British indie pop band, which is essentially just a vehicle for singer-guitarist Gavin Priest. They have been around in one form or another since the mid-90s, so it's surprising they only have 3 records, but without a lot of output over all that time. I was surprised by this one, and you know, I had forgotten about it after I originally listened to it, and listened to it just recently in making this list, and was reminded how good it was. Good stuff there.
Yeah, and that's one I covered in a video. I enjoyed it as well.
Yep.
So that was your number 15, the Proctors.
Right.
This is my number 15 is the debut LP Chicago area band or group called Humdrum, and the album is Every Heaven on Slumberland Records. It's a combination of like dream pop, new wave, jangle pop. Has a lot of 80s and 90s vibes, a lot of earworms. It reminds me of a little bit of the band Massage that I like I think they're from Los Angeles. Just a really fun record. pop record, indie pop record. You like this one also. You mentioned this. I think also in the last video you mentioned this one. Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff. I think it probably would have landed around between 20 and 30 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very good. Next up for me is number 14, album by the Motorists. Touched by the Stuff is the name of the album, and it is came out on Bobo Integral. It is their second full-length record. They are a Toronto indie rock trio. This record was just packed full of great, catchy tunes. Yeah, couldn't get enough of it. Really good.
Yep, and I like that one also. That was your number 14, Motorists. My number 14 is the Melbourne band called Quivers, and the album Oyster Cuts on Merge Records. It's their third LP. All three of their albums, I think, are winners. This one has a bit of a darker tone. I still think the songs are great. Beautiful harmonies, sincere lyrics. Sometimes I think like the sincerity of certain bands doesn't work all the time. It works for me. It works here. Really enjoy it. Quivers, Oyster Cuts.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too. It was it probably landed in that 20 to 30 range as well for me. Next up for me, number 13 is the Mary Timony record, Untamed the Tiger, out on Merge Records. Let's see. She is based in Washington, D.C., been around forever. We covered this one in an earlier 2x2. Both big fans of her output. This one is her fifth full-length solo record, and in my opinion, one of her best. So, yeah.
Yep, and I like that one too. Yeah, we did also cover that, I think, in the spring as well. My number 13 is another one that we covered, I think, in probably the same, in the spring. Yeah, this is the Augsburg, Germany band called the BVs. And the album is Taking Pictures on Shelf Life Records. This is Sarah Records-esque jangle pop, but it also has elements of dream pop. It has elements of like krautrock. I think if you only listen to the singles, it doesn't give you a very full picture. Like if I play a couple samples, it doesn't really give you a full picture of the album. And it's again something where, because of that, I think people that would like it more as an album probably won't give it a chance based off of that. But anyway, it just really connected with me. I did listen to it throughout the year. This is one we talked about. I don't think this one really landed with you, as I recall. But
I
yeah,
liked it, but yeah, I never picked it back up for whatever reason. Kind of moved on, but yeah, it was decent. Next up is my number 12. The band is called Laughing, and the album was called Because It's True. I only just recently figured out to link those together. Laughing Because It's True.
Okay.
And
I don't know if I ever did.
Yeah. Out on Celluloid Lunch Records. It's their debut album. They are a Montreal-based indie rock quartet. Not a mediocre or a bad song on the album. Hearing some Wilco, definitely Teenage Fan Club, a little bit of Dinosaur Jr., a lot of varied 90s indie rock influences there. Good stuff.
Yeah, and I also like that one. It's on my wider list, and it's one of those where probably should be higher for me, but we'll talk about it at the end of this video. So that's your number 12 is Laughing Because It's True.
Correct.
My number 12 is Mammoth Penguins. Their third album is called Here on FICA Recordings. This is kind of an indie power trio, noisy power pop or pop punk, or it has. I think what really makes it is the vocalist. So Emma Koopa, her lead vocal is really what makes it for me. But yeah, Mammoth Penguins, liked it. Did you?
Yeah,
ever listen to this one?
you tipped me off on that one. I loved it as well.
Okay. So now you're number 11.
Number
Moving right
11
along.
is a Chicago band called Frico or Frico. I'm not sure how to pronounce it actually. They came out with their debut record called "Where We've Been, Where We Go From Here" out on ATO Records. As I said, debut record, Chicago-based duo, male-female duo. Very 90s influenced here, but has it has a great variety of styles and vibes throughout the record. Just a really nice cohesive listen. Yeah, that was my number 11. Did you check this one out at all?
I don't believe that I listened to that at all. So another one I need to catch up on. There's really so many albums you just can't. It's just impossible. Okay, so that was your number 11. My number 11 is Holiday Ghosts, the UK quartet, their 5th LP called Coat of Arms. It's just, lo-fi indie pop with kind of a garage pop / surf jangle. Just really love this. Holiday Ghosts, Coat of Arms. I like the last album as well. Did you like this one also? I believe
I did. Yeah, no, you hipped me to them last year, and I really liked that record that came out. And yeah, this one probably would land in my top 50 or something like that. Yeah, very good stuff. Yeah.
So we're up to number 10. We're up to number 10. We have zero overlap.
I thought there would be more. I thought there would be more. So far,
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right, so my number 10 is Remy Wolf. The album is called Big Ideas. It's out on Island Records. It's her 2nd full-length record. She is a female, LA-based female pop singer, giving us top 40 style pop through a more sort of psychedelic, almost abstract, eclectic lens. Her stuff is really funky, just kind of goofy at times. Her lyrics, I enjoyed this record quite a bit. Big Ideas from Remy Wolf.
Remy Wolf. I'm aware of that, but I never listened to it. Do you think that I would like it? If you had to guess.
Maybe a little. It probably wouldn't be on, top of your list, but yeah, I think you'd be okay with it.
All right, so my number 10 is the first overlap is the Chime School album, The Boy Who Ran the Paisley Hotel, 2nd LP from them, or him, really. But it became more of a full band, I think, between the first album and this album. Yeah, it's just an excellent set of super catchy jangle pop songs.
Yeah, I find his vocals to be impressive in that he's so confident. Like he has a very confident delivery, and that's all I can sort of explain or describe it as. Yeah, it's good stuff. That was my number 16.
Yeah,
my number 9 for 2024 is from a band called Wishy. Their album 777 out on Windspear Records. This is another Indianapolis band. This is the only time this has happened or ever will happen, is I have 2 Indianapolis bands that I enjoyed because when I lived there, it was like a barren landscape of music. Bands would come through, good stuff, but I knew no decent Indianapolis bands. Wishy, 777 out on Windspear. Debut album from them. It's heavily 90s influenced here. They are a 5-piece indie rock band, I would say. Great blend of various indie rock, pop subgenres on this album. Some shoegaze, dream poppy, Smashing Pumpkins ish, grungy songs, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And so this is another one I've featured in a video as well. And so, yeah, I like it. I know a lot of people like have this like very high
Sure.
as well, but I didn't
It's very accessible.
wind up. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your number 9.
It is.
777. 777 or 777s?
777.
777. My number 9 is from the Netherlands indie pop band called the Moreens, and the album Everyone Smiles. It's their 4th LP. Has a classic guitar pop sound with really like great harmonies. Reminds me a bit of the Jayhawks at their like the poppier Jayhawks for sure. Like the album Smile. It reminds me of Teenage Fan Club, let's say late 90s Teenage Fan Club, that kind of thing. Yeah. The Moreens, Everyone Smiles. I think that you liked this also. You mentioned when we got together at some point that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I like this record a lot. I was a little late to it, but really dig it. Definitely my wheelhouse. My number 8 is Being Dead. The album is called Eels, out on Bayonet Records. This is their 2nd full length. They're an Austin, Texas-based male-female duo. A little more serious this time around, lyrically, generally. A lot of great tunes on this one. I know you're a big fan.
I'm a fan. Both of the records. Yes. It may come up again. My number 8 is San Francisco kind of shoegaze group. Their debut LP. The band is called Aluminum, and the album is Fully Beat. It blends shoegaze and jangle pop and even electronica and post-punk in there as well. Reminds me at times of, say, like bands like Chapter House, and then at other times something completely different. It is a little bit of a diverse set, not super diverse, but a little bit of a like dabbling in different genres. They had an EP, I don't know, a few years ago now that I really liked. That one was more maybe straight shoegaze, I would say, versus this, but I really like this. Aluminum, Fully Beat. I think it's on Felt Records.
I may have sampled it early on. Did it come out early in the year?
Fairly early. I think in the spring. Yeah,
I may have sampled it, but I didn't for whatever reason catch on to it. So,
all right.
Number 7 for me is Wave. City Lights is the name of the album, and out on Transgressive Records. It's the 2nd full-length album from this UK-based male-female duo again that features Graham Coxon from Blur, Rose Eleanor Dougal from the Pipettes. The hot goss here is that they're together now, if you remember from our previous video.
I do.
Talk about hot goss. Is that they're together now, and they had a baby. I feel like I can hear it in this album, is that they were closer when they recorded it, and it's a better record because of it. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this one. A lot of great tunes comparatively to the previous. I was kind of warmish on that one, but this one I liked a lot.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one quite a bit as well. My number 7 is LA, Los Angeles area band or LA band. Their second album, band is called Dummy, and the album is Free Energy on Trouble in Mind Records. This kind of smashes together and morphs a bunch of different styles throughout. I think that can make it maybe a little bit, I think, less accessible versus their debut album, perhaps. But I think that's maybe, I think the diversity of the songs works the way it's put together as an album for me. Yeah, so it has some elements of krautrock, trip hop, experimental pop, kind of runs around. Dummy, Free Energy, my number 7. I presume this one not necessarily not going to be on your list.
It was my number 23. Exactly.
23.
No,
okay.
It was higher up there. It just didn't make the top 20. I did like it a lot. Yeah.
Okay. Your number 6.
Number 6 is the Bel Air Lip Balms. Lush Life is the album, and it came out in Third Man. We just talked about it in our previous video. It was one of the 2x2 picks that I had. Yeah, great record. Number 6.
Number 6, Bel Air Lip Balms.
Yep.
They're from Australia, right?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of Australia going around. Anyway, my number 6 is another San Francisco band called the Umbrellas. Their sophomore LP is called Fairweather Friend. It's on Slumberland Records. Yeah, this is again putting their own stamp on kind of modern jangle pop, indie pop. Really just, I think that, like, from every song is good, catchy, enjoyable all the way through. The Umbrellas, Fairweather Friend.
I like that one.
At least like this. Yeah.
I liked it quite a bit too. I don't know if it would be in my top 50, but yeah, good stuff. Definitely reviewed it. Yep.
All right. So now we're up to top 5.
Top 5. Number 5 for me is Ducks Limited. Harm's Way is the album out on Car Park. You already talked about it. What was it for you?
16.
Just, precise jangle, power pop, Toronto-based duo, second full length. Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed. My number 5 is Mount Misery and the album Love in Mind. I think that they're from the UK. I think it's Hartlepool. I think it's how you say that. I think I said it wrong and somebody corrected me. I don't know. So it's a quartet. It's their second LP. It's indie guitar pop gold. It's just really beautiful. Beautiful harmonies. This is again, evokes like your classic Teenage Fan Club sound, I guess, a little bit. Yeah, got a lot of spins. Really enjoyed it. Mount Misery, Love in Mind. It's on Prefect Records.
Yep. That was one of the records I had mentioned last video that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
In Q4. Good stuff. My number 4 is Sharp Pins. Radio DDR is the album. It's a self-release. And I mentioned their other record that came out this past year in the previous video as well. This one was the better of the two. It's their second full-length release. They released one other record previous year. Sharp Pins is a solo vehicle from the frontman of Chicago band Lifeguard.
Lifeguard, not Lifehouse.
Yeah, Lifeguard. His name is Kai Slater, and he's very young. So it's very impressive that he's able to pull this very catchy lo-fi noise pop for someone so young. But then again, maybe the youth, his youth is part of why it's so good. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Did you listen to this one? I know we talked about it a little bit.
I did. I did not. I don't think I gave it enough time. I've heard a lot of good things. Like, I've heard a lot of people also saying how much they enjoy it. It's one I've got to go back. Actually, both, I suppose. I only listened to the one that was released earlier in the year, and then was confused when I saw reviews late in the year. I'm like, are they reviewing the album from the beginning of the year? Anyway.
Do you want to do like a catch-up video in 3 months to just like
in 3 months?
In? Yeah.
You want to check where
2024?
How about 6 months? We'll redo this whole video in 6 months.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. My number 4, right? My number 4 is Being Dead, the album Eels. Again, second LP in 2 years, which I sometimes is concerning. Yeah, you already mentioned. So Austin band led by Falcon Bitch and Schmoofy, which I believe Schmoofy changed his name between albums. Yeah. Way more serious.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think this is it's a complete joy. It shifts stylistically throughout. Maybe early on when I listened to it, I thought that was a detriment, especially in the second half. But I think as I listened to it more, I just really enjoyed it as a whole. It's it's kind of garagey, kind of pop psych at times. It reminds me, not in that it sounds like, but it shares the similar kind of aesthetic a little bit to like Elephant Six bands of the late 90s, early 2000s. And the humor works for me. I think some people, it doesn't.
Sure.
Anyway, Being Dead, Eels, it's my number 4.
Yep, that was my number 8.
So that's 3. We have 3.
Is it 3 or
overlaps.
Was it 4? I will
3
see.
so far.
Okay, so my next up is number 3 for 2024, Jack White, the album No Name, out on Third Man Records. A much welcome return to form by the former White Stripes frontman, his 6th solo full-length record. I know you're a huge fan, so what did you think?
Jack White, I think the original guitarist for the band The Go from Detroit.
Yes.
Yep. And he was in the Raconteurs with Brendan Benson. Yep. Brendan Benson's band, the Raconteurs.
Yep.
Okay. My number 3. My number 3 is another Paris band, second LP. The band is called Eggs, and the album is called Crafted Achievement. This features 2 members from Unintended Anna, who I love, and also people from Special Friend, other bands. I think it's kind of an ever-evolving lineup. The album is very short, which this has kind of been the year of like really short albums. And I think this is 8 tracks or 9 tracks in the 20s, like mid-20s minutes. But every song is good. I like the whole thing from beginning to end. I like it more now than I did when I first listened to it. Yeah. Like the first album. I love the first album also. So 2 for 2 with me. Okay. Eggs. Crafted Achievement. This is on Prefect. It was joint release on Prefect and Howlin' Banana Records.
Yeah, I like that one too. You tipped me off on them. We got some Replacements references there. Definitely some Replacements influence. Can't go wrong with that. It was just kind of medium high for me. Too short. Yeah, just but overall pretty decent. Yeah. My number two,
Two.
record. Yep, number two is the Marines. The Maureen's, not the Marines. Everyone Smiles on Meritorio Records. You mentioned them already. I think it was your number. I don't know what it was, but we talked
9,
about it.
I think.
Yeah,
9.
my number two record. Good stuff. Just any power pop from the Benelux area, I'm usually into. Really heavy Teenage Fan Club influence here. It's kind of been the year for that for me. I'm seeing a lot of it on my list, but yeah, great stuff.
All right, my number 2 is a New Zealand band, second LP. Band is called Best Bets, and the album is The Hollow Husk of Feeling. It's kind of garagey, jangly power punk / pop. It's power pop, I think, is fair. It's very very noisy guitar versus some of these other albums that I have mentioned here. Yeah, I liked it all the way through. I like the buzzy guitar sound. I think all the songs are good. Just really splendid. Best
Splendid.
Bets, The Hollow Husk of Feeling. Did you dislike this one strongly?
I think I reviewed it. I am not sure if I did or not. To be completely honest.
When we come back together to do this in 6 months again,
I'll give that another listen. Yeah, that flew under my radar for whatever reason. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
We're up to number 1. This is the big moment here.
This is
number 1,
the moment we've all been waiting for.
Yep. 2024 best album for me is Mammoth Penguins. The album here on FICO Recordings. You mentioned earlier, right? I don't know.
Yeah, so we wound up with 5.
We did. I was right. I think I said 5 last year, and I was way off. So I'm glad I was more accurate.
This was number 12 for me. So this is number 1.
Number 1.
This is the Snob's number 1 album of 2024. Yeah. Mammoth Penguins.
Yeah. I mean, I know you said some stuff about it, so I don't need to go into too much detail, but I love the lead singer's vocal delivery, sort of heartfelt, authentic, insightful lyrics. It's totally up my alley. Good stuff. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. That vocalist and the lyricism is what really elevates it for sure. So my number 1 is the LA band, another LA band called Mo Dottie. Debut LP is called Opaque. This is kind of melodic shoegaze / dream pop. I think it was just the right record at the right time for me. Maybe if it had come out earlier or later, I wouldn't quite have landed. It's if you like Lush, has very strong Lush vibes on many songs, not the whole thing, but on many songs has that going. It's a self-release, which is somewhat impressive. Mo Dottie, Opaque, debut LP, band from Los Angeles.
Yep.
You hated this one.
No, I called it. I knew this was going to be your number 1. I should have put money on it. No, I didn't call it, but I knew that you.
I think on Polymarket. I was
expecting
I think it was on Polymarket. You could make that bet. What was my number 1? So we've gone through we'll discuss a little bit more, but that's my number 1. You liked it, didn't like it as much as I did.
I did. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. You got it.
So do you have any big grand statement about the year 2024?
Well, as you're saying, it definitely was the year of the short album.
What kind of blew me away is we had that I think in our first 2x2 of the year, you had kind of mentioned how you were saying you were asking me about these like 9-song albums and this or that, and
yeah, it was prophetic. Yeah,
basically from that point on, I couldn't stop seeing like either not a lot of songs or just very short, and then like 6-song EPs that were longer than 12-song LPs, and just kind of, and I really do think the vinyl, whatever you want to call it, the targeting, they're targeting to the vinyl format has allowed them to, and to go with shorter albums. You know, I remember when I was a little kid, I would be upset. Like if a CD was like 20 minutes, I would be like, what a ripoff.
Yeah.
Like if a CD only had 20 minutes, but you know, then if you go to like later in the 90s when they would pack on all these bonus tracks, like if you buy like a Birds album with like 12 bonus tracks, and it's like, yeah, maybe that's not necessary. So there's kind of got to be some, you don't just want to throw 80 minutes of stuff on there because you can, you know what I'm saying? But I think at some point if you're targeting to an LP and you want it to be a single LP, well then you know, it changes how you put an album together, versus if you're not thinking about any format and you're just thinking digitally. Like there's some digital LPs that digital only albums that are way too long, and I think it's because they aren't dealing with the limitations of a format. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then CDs, they kind of, well, we have this extra, we can put more on here.
They got 70 minutes, or it's 70, right?
Yeah. So it was in the CD era. I think it was more common to get a 65 minute album. Than in the LP era. Because that would be, you know, 65 minutes to put on 2 LPs. Yeah. Anyway, I kind of derailed us there.
Yeah. Short records. Short songs, and maybe it's, you know, definitely for vinyl, I can see that, especially with the music that we like, but also, you know, it's streaming obviously probably has a lot to do with it, TikTok and all that shit. You know, certainly the shortening of America's attention span has something to do with it as well. Or it's just like bands are just more eager to get music out, so they're willing to just make an album with 8 songs and push it out, you know, because they just want to get it out sooner than later. I don't know, but yeah, just I mean, I don't know. The people that listen to albums are very small. We're here sitting here talking at great length, or at least this video will be fairly long, talking about albums. But most people don't listen to albums. They listen to. It's
songs.
True. It's true.
So,
even in the face of vinyl selling more than it ever has, than you know, for many years.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably true. It's
vinyl is the top in the United States. Vinyl is the top selling physical format.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
but it's still only a fraction of what people are listening to.
Oh, exactly, for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of people buy vinyl and they don't listen to it. There's that also.
Yeah,
I
buy a lot of it, and I buy a lot of it, but I just don't have time to listen to it because I'm listening to all this fucking new shit. So my vinyl's going neglected, unfortunately. But yeah, so that's what December is for. Yeah, I don't know if I have many other grand statements. It was, you know, like I said earlier on previous recording, I reviewed more records than I've ever reviewed. I found more good stuff than I ever have before. But I was almost absorbed and obsessed with finding good stuff. So I was never really enjoying the good stuff I was finding. I mean, most of them, my top 5, like I probably listened to those records like 3 times until I listened to them again just recently. So, you know, for a little bit of a learning for me for next year is I need to find a way to listen to less, cut through the bullshit so I can focus on what's good and, you know, try to go for 100 records. It's unsustainable to listen to this.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
it's a full-time job.
Not possible. You know? I mean, even the things that that albums that you mentioned that I hadn't listened to on in your top 20, it's like I listened to hundreds of albums, and I'm not listening to these albums that you're just anyway.
It's crazy.
I think one thing for me versus say 2023, I did not really have a wire to wire or an album that came out that I said this is number one, and it's I'm pretty sure this. For me last year, I was pretty sure most of the year what my number one was going to be. This year did not have that. The way that I do it is I have my list of all these albums that came out, and at the beginning of December, I start kind of bucketing them, saying this could be a top 25, this could be a top 50, this could be a top 75, because I'm doing that 75 list.
Yep.
And what I found is that the amount of albums that I thought would be in the middle completely crowded out all of the top 7, the ones that I said.
Yeah.
There was so much in the middle for me. So
I would agree with that.
Like there was a really lot in that middle, and it kind of pushed out some things that I thought for sure would be on my list that did not wind up on my list, especially by legacy artists. Mm-hmm. Like artists have been around a long time that maybe they came back. I put out an album. This is really, I feel like this is something that will make my list, but not very high. Those are completely off because I had so much in the middle that I wanted to get in.
I had spent extraordinary effort trying to figure out the top 20 this time around, whereas it was much clearer in previous years. And I had more to choose from. Like usually I just go through on my music program. I just throw the records into a playlist. And I had like 50 some records where usually in previous years, maybe 30 that I thought were worthy. This time I could almost get to the Douche 75. Pretty impressive. Lots of good stuff out there, but nothing really that I knew was going to be on it. I mean, early on, I knew that Ducks Limited record was probably going to be tops, but even so, I thought it was going to be number one earlier in the year, but I found 4 other records just in the past, 2 weeks that I liked more.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah. So I guess the only other thing, the way I kind of do mine is I wind up having to go back and listen to a lot of things, so, and then between the time that at some point you have to say the list is done, and then I have to make a video. And then while I have to deal with making the video, I am disagreeing with myself over and over. I'm like, wow, this is this high, or man, this shouldn't be this low. There's that weird second guessing myself.
Yeah, all over and then again. You realize that, oh my God, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Just pick something.
And so at some point you're just like, and then also I'm like, oh, the video isn't that great. But it's like, I spent so much time on it. At some point you're just done, right? At some point it's just like, you just gotta unleash it, let people thumbs down it, and then turn your attention to 2025.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because because of the nature of how I approached new music this year, I hardly was listening to any old music. I actually read Juliana Hatfield's biography, and I did not listen to one Juliana Hatfield song while I was reading it, which is odd for me because that it makes the enjoyment of reading the book so much better if you're listening to the music that she's talking about. Do you go back to do you make time to listen to old music, or are you just so focused on new music?
I listen to a lot of other music too. Yeah, I listen to a lot of other. I also listen to other
Yeah.
genres of music that I don't. That's not.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that I have to limit myself, which is why I can't listen to. I can't just sit and listen to like 50 new albums a day or
Yeah.
whatever. That's just not
Yeah.
possible. It's really,
Not listening to that many, but yeah.
yeah. That's why there is some level of curation that is done in advance, even
Yeah.
on things that haven't come out. Like, so I have a list already of like 60 or 70 albums that are coming out next year, right? That's
Okay.
just starting to be whatever. But
Yeah.
some of that stuff, there's been, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's also been more things that I've seen that I'm just not, I'm just not gonna, I'm not going to prioritize it and have it on my list. You have to
Yeah.
make some kind of because you can't do everything.
Yep.
Anyway, any other closing thoughts on 2024 year in music?
Not really. We should probably just end 2024. Probably just end it.